guys, we're going to take a break from the style guide that we were doing for comic book coloring, and I'm going to ink these Frank Miller pencils. And the reason that I'm doing that, this is what the pencils look like, and I made these boxes, and I'm just going to ink over it. Ink the blue pencils. You can see there's a lot of, your monitor's not dirty, it's just that the pencil page has got a lot of artifacting and stuff, and I don't feel like going through there and deleting all that around the pencils. I'm just going to have to ignore it and go over it. Now, the reason I'm doing this is that I did a silhouette, a Spider-Man silhouette of Frank Miller in my guide to comic book coloring, and I really want to do more with Frank Miller. But there's just not any high quality scans of his inks anywhere that I can find. I can find some drawings and some pencils. So I'm going to take these pencils and I'm going to make my own inks, and I'm just going to interpret this image the way that I'm not going to look at the Dark Knight Returns. Of course, this is a very famous page from the Dark Knight Returns with a big lightning bolt through Superman, and it's the first page that ever left an impression on me. This is the first book that I can ever remember picking it up. I think my cousin had it or something. I was probably 5, maybe. I was only 3 when this was released, or 2 or something like that. So this is from 1984. So yeah, I'm gonna ink this. I'm probably not gonna talk a lot. So if you want to turn on some music, if you want to watch it, or if you just want to fast forward and see how it turns out. And then in a later date, after I finish the guide to comic book coloring, I'm going to take the suggestions that I've gotten in the comments, because people have asked for some unusual, message me with some unusual requests, people who have such unorthodox coloring methods that it wouldn't really be good in that Avengers image with those really clean inks. And I don't want to destroy those inks too much. I've already mutilated them with the Frank Miller thing, and then also the kind of Dave Stewart texture brushing tribute that I did. I really messed up the ink, so I'm just going to create some of my own here, and then we'll color this image. As what if the Dark Knight Returns had been released when digital stuff was possible, and I'll use all the tools that I have to create something really new and hopefully cool. So this is just all of this is just exercise. I'm just practicing, trying to get better, and I hope you guys find it interesting. If you have questions about how it is I did something, feel free. I do all of my inking and drawing in Mega Studio, and then the coloring I kind of split between Photoshop and Mega Studio, but feel free to ask questions about either. So let's start drawing here. Now the brush that I'm using, or I should say the pen, is I'm using a similar, it looks like this was done with maybe a Micron brush or something like that. I'm going to zoom in real far. So we're at 600 DPI, and I've been using a 6-pixel brush, but there's not a ton of line variation, and his lines just have so much wiggle and waggle to them. I'm having a heck of a time. It's just too easy to draw lines that don't look anything like his. You really have to kind of take your time and wander around. And of course I have stabilization off, and if this were in Photoshop I would turn off brush smoothing, which if you hit F5, generally you want to have that option checked, but in this case you don't. So this is a 6-pixel brush. There's just a bit of a size jitter on it and a little bit of bleed, so as you can see there, it goes a little bit thick to thin. If you push it at the end, you can kind of see it's very natural. I call this pen Shelley because it looks like the pens that Shel Silverstein used to do Where the Sidewalk Ends, and that style of illustration. So this is a thick line with firm pressure, and you can see it jitters just a little. And then this is a very thin line. This is a soft, that's as small as it's going to get. I'm like barely touching the monitor. So let's walk that back and get started here. I'm try and not zoom in too far. And I'm going to sit up straight, and this is the point where I'm probably going to stop talking. I might wax a little poetic about Frank Miller. He was an important part of my childhood. See, if you go too fast, the lines are just too smooth. You have to go super slow. And there's a lot of interpretation in these inks from the original. I'm only going to interpret the parts that don't make sense, where limbs don't connect and things like that. But I've never inked something so just rough. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just really, really rough. Brow line. I have my copy of this book here, but I'm going to try and not look at it and just, unless I really get caught up, and just do it seems like this scan is, maybe when I cleaned it up, I didn't do that good of a job. I didn't spend too much time with it, but maybe when I cleaned it up, if you look in here, I see a nose, this, and then this is the crown of his nose, and then there's this line on the other side for some reason. I assume his eye would be right here, right? Like that. There we go. And what are these other lines? What does that look like? It's so gnarly. I think this is big enough that we have to give him an eye, right? That slash for an eye just isn't going to work. So we need to... And this is supposed to be, I guess, his neck over here. Maybe need to erase. That's going to work. really working for me either. It seems like this should be easy, right? But I just have a feeling that the final product doesn't look anything like this. Let's get them two small eyes. Remember, I'm looking kind of like a demon, if I had to guess. Oops, don't have scaling on. Maybe 1 pixel will do it. Whoops, that was on me. Wrong macro. Or auto action, if it was. We need more space between his nose and his teeth, right? I know that these are here in the drawing, but I refuse to believe that that's where they are in the actual manuscript. Something like that. Give it some more space. I did it again. That seems slightly better. It's almost like you can see the parts of his skull. God, that's weird. Hmm. His hair looks just like his leaves. I feel like. shut these off? This is freaking me out, man. Just do what's there. See how it looks. Taken enough artistic liberties, right? I just took some more, but oh well. I feel like an ear should be bigger, right? There's no way he left that. Like this hand, and as you can see, like this is where I started realizing, oh God, this can't be anything like this. There's no way the finished product looks like that. It's just not. It's just a rough. I wonder if all of his pencils were like that. If he, even when he inked his own work. I'm not saying that just because it's rough that makes it bad. I'm just saying that it's rough. This is widely considered one of the most popular and best graphic novels ever, right? And I just wonder if he, maybe because he was used to inking his own work, that he liked to keep it super loose so he can sort of put in the forms and see it, and he had it in his head. I wonder if when he worked with him he did the same thing. Or if any inker was like, hey man, you gotta tighten it up. I don't know what's in your head. I have no idea. But Frank Miller is undoubtedly one of the greats, the great storytellers. Not necessarily trying to make this my own, or I don't know what I'm doing. Just trying to get some kind of facsimile of what the original inks would look like with my own spin on it, my own finding of the forms. It's an exercise in inking, it's an exercise in thinking. I mean, it's really outside of my comfort zone, right? And I'm trying to interpret someone else's work. This is a super healthy exercise, I think. This is a vast departure from my own style. And I feel like some of my style's smoothness is because I'm able to rely on digital tools. So maybe, I don't know, it's nice to go back and look at these old-timey works, Jack Kirby, way back. This work demonstrates anything to me. It's It's just affirmation of what I already suspected, which is that like the quality of your lines doesn't matter. All that matters is can you capture the form? Do you know what it is to tell a story? And sure, there are going to be people that are attracted to your artwork if you can do incredible things, but the technicality or the technical proficiency of the artwork doesn't matter. You can tell a great story with any level of art, and therefore anyone can make a comic book. And I may just tell myself that because I'm an absolute novice at drawing, and I desperately want to make my own book. I just want to say, here I made, I want a physical comic book in my hand, the same way that I wanted to write uh, a book. I wanted to be able to hold that in my hand and say, I did this. And in some respects, it's that I've had my share of, not excellent collaborations where people are mean or greedy. And I just want to be able to do it. No, I don't only want to work by myself by any stretch of the imagination. I just want to prove to myself that I can make a comic book, start to finish. These are my 30 pages or whatever have you. I think I'm so concerned that my lines are going to be smooth that I'm like over adjusting, maybe. Go up to 10 to do this. Boot, das Boot. Gotta kind of decide which one of his messy lines you want to keep. A little bit more true there. Surprised I haven't rotated this yet. Do without some of these lines. Alright, let's see how that looks. I may add a bit of contour to the outside. It's pretty cool, huh? I know that these belt buckles are like part of the, or at least I know how Superman's suit is supposed to look, and that's not it. It should be like they're part of the pants. Or the undershort. Like the Superman briefs, the red briefs. Like these are, the loops are built into them. Okay, now that we have this, looks like he's wearing a glove here. That's his shirt, and then it's kind of strange. It's not like that on the other side. Let's see if we can't fix that. We'll call that the end of his shirt right there. Maybe we have too many lines in there? I don't know. This needs to just go. This too, probably. Just do that. It just feels really good to just sit here and think about these sort of unusual shapes that I personally would never create. And make this thumb look a little bit more natural. Not a lot more natural. And his hand, what does the other one look like? I changed that one too. I made that one look really natural, but his finger's all, he's being struck by lightning and his hand is like splayed outward. What would this look like? That doesn't look right. How about that? I can live with that. It's weird as weird, but it's kind of a thing, right? Need any more lines anywhere? Put a bunch of lines in his face. God knows what's right there and what's wrong. Freaky. We get a few colored pixels that bleed through his eyes. I'm okay with that. What's wrong with it? You just adding a little bit of contour here. Just a bit. Not a lot. I don't want to get too weighty. See where I took apart this hand. This was the first part where I was like, oh my god. I thought it was just going to be a quick little, let's trace these silly lines, and this will be easy. Idiot. I'm going to give it a little bit of wave, but not too much. Yeah. Alright, we're done with Superman. So weird looking. All his little loops, I don't know if that's going to work or not. We'll see what happens when we color it. We have to do more, we will. See, I remember these trees. I just think that these trees need to be solid black. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just seeing these things as I see them. I'm not trying to perfectly trace them or anything like that. I'm trying to leave decent amounts of line breaks and open space so there's some separation between the layers, because obviously there's these leaves are right up next to the camera. The rest of these, most of these are a little bit further away, but there'll be some of them that are solid black and that we lighten up the inks to kind of give them distance. Because as things move further away, that looks like poop. Absolute poop. Whoops. Forgot I made those. Alright. Alright, kids. The boxes should be on another layer. TBH IMO IRL. See, these are like blown. They should be trees, right? Let's get a different brush. Whoa. Have I been inking not in black for some reason? And I can fix that later. Is this blue or is this black? That would be a bummer. That is blue. Where are the ink set to multiply? That doesn't make any sense. Now I'm concerned. Oh, I filled it with white. Never mind. Never mind. I get it. I get what just happened. White pixels become translucent when you set to multiply. I was just taking a shortcut there. I'll use that. Do I want to use the G pen? Probably this. This one's just a bit more liquidy. It's nice. Thin and thick, thick to thin. Just trying to draw some ugly tree shapes here. If you are coloring on a Wacom tablet and not a tablet monitor, I would not suggest, which is what I used to do. I found that when you have a pressure range as high as I'm using right now, and I've got the little cursor so you can see that if I put any real pressure down, we'd have enormous lines. And I found that like just no matter what I did, that it wasn't my hand, that it just wasn't. It wasn't in the cards because the pressure sensitivity just wasn't there. I'd have to work with a smaller range, which really doesn't, I mean, you'd still get the same result, right? You're just working slower. Don't despair. First, I was thinking if I could have found a way to keep, the tablet monitors have their own set of drivers, just like anything else, I suppose. And if I could have had my Intuos tablet just at first, not now. I'm glad that it wouldn't let me have both installed, and I was just kind of hell bent on continuing to color on my Intuos. I like it that much. But I learned. And now I wouldn't trade my style just came through, right? I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that zoomed out. Some girth to this branch. Kind of main trunk. Get a little bit of variance. with this brush. There's not a lot in the actual thing. There's not. Just looks like Micron pen to me. But of course I could be wrong. I don't have the strength to deal with him right now. Should I continue using this pen? F it, right? Oops. See, if I get to just do my style, I can move. I can move. We'll see how bad this looks after. Should really be doing this with a smaller brush head. Do I wanna? I don't want to mess with the text, do I? Boom. Whoa, whoa, slow down. I guess that this would need to be kind of like this, right? Can you even tell that's a bug? Whatever. It's interior, who cares? Right? Right. I'll put little boxes and stuff on top and put the text at the end. Is that really even necessary? I should not be using this pen by any stretch of the imagination. It was okay for the Blades of Grass, I suppose, but let's... Yeah, this is a lot more authentic, even if we are taking lots of liberties. Whatever. Who am I going to offend? I say that, but there's probably at least one crazy person out there who his religion is The Dark Knight Returns. He's just going to endlessly spam me on Twitter. I'm a hack. That would be awesome, to be honest. In a sad, weird way. That's the way my natural... Another thing you learn is how people's hands move. Like everything is a loop with this guy. This guy. Sorry. Sorry, Mr. Miller. Please give me a job. I don't think he's hiring. I won't sue you for workplace harassment. That was easy. Oh no, more Superman. 45 minutes into this. Back. I'll do one more. I'll do this hand, and then I'm going to be done. There's going to be some more. We're going to have to add some detail there. This is such a cool looking hand. How's that look? Whoops. Super cool. Would your hand look that good if you were struck by lightning? Probably not, right? I want to do this. G-pen might be a mistake, but Probably shouldn't do that. Make them a little uneven. Add a little interest. Alright, that's going to be it for that. I'll finish the rest of this up at some point, and we will color it soon, today or tomorrow or something. So, thanks for being here this last hour and kind of hanging out, if that's what you did, or maybe you just fast-forwarded to the end to see if I finished it, to see what it would look like. Or maybe you're just furiously typing hateful comments about what I'm doing to these gorgeous Frank Miller pencils. How dare you call him sloppy? Well, whatever your deal is. Thanks for being here, and happy arting. I will be back soon with more from this Avengers image. What are we working on here? We're working on a guide to comic book styles with this image, where we're doing a different style for all of these images. This is, of course, J. Scott Campbell pencils and DeviantArt inks that someone did, Vector inks. So I just needed a break from this. It's I've really been staring at magic way too long, just going, this character is stupid. Why does the sorceress have a sword? I can't get over that. Even though I'm a grown man and I shouldn't concern myself with such things, I do. So take care, guys, and comment below with what you want to see. Do you want to see more of this? More of let's ink and dissect. Let's color and dissect. I'm going to do paintings, comic book stuff, whatever you want. I'm here for you. I'm Audi 5000. A quote from the great movie, the American classic, Step Brothers.